Human touch with AI is what I focus upon because AI is actually database
Right.
intelligence, and human is the touch where we need to have collaborate and connection because there are people who are implementing whatever processes, whatever things we do.
So, Mr. Bhatnagar, as a seasoned leader with wealth of experience, I'm sure you've clearly navigated many facets of leadership. And when it comes to corporate governance, it's such a crucial element in shaping not only a company's strategy, but also culture and ethical foundation. Hi, welcome to FaceTime with Leaders, the podcast where we sit down with top executives to uncover the stories, strategies, and insights behind their success. Presented by the Directors Institute, World Council of Directors, and I'm Charu Mehra, your host for today. Today's episode features someone who truly embodies leadership and innovation. With over 25 years of experience, Mr. Vishal Bhatnagar has worn many hats, from co-founding an EdTech startup in 1999 to leading product engineering and strategy for some of the most successful e-commerce platforms in the liquor industry. Currently the Chief Product Officer at C.Dass Infotech, he has been instrumental in building and scaling platforms that drive significant growth. His expertise in product management, technology strategy, and team leadership has left a lasting impact on businesses in Asia, India, Australia, and beyond. In today's conversation, we'll hear about his journey from launching startups to navigating the complexities of scaling products at a global level. Mr. Bhatnagar, thank you for being with us today. We're excited to have you on the show, sir.
Thank you so much, Charu. I am so very excited.
Great. So let's just dive in.
So,
So you've had such a dynamic career from entrepreneurship to heading teams for global platforms. But take us back to the beginning and tell us about your journey. What were those key moments or decisions that shaped your path?
well, it's a great question. So I'll start when I was in school days. So probably the school time, the computers were just coming up. It was a lot of fascination there. So I saw the first computer when I was in class 11th. So it was a typical I-286. I don't know whether you have heard of that or not, because
I
at
don't
that point
think
of
so.
time the painting was not there. It was 286, 386, and 486 kind of computer generations were there. So I drew the first graphic program in class 11. And then probably the fascination grew to a level when I joined my graduation in computer science. It was like way back in 1996. So we were working on 386 machines and 486 machines. So and in the entire graduation, when the entire thing was completed, we were based out in Jodhpur. So actually, we when we moved out and we completed my graduation, then probably it was a typical software-based industry where we were installing softwares. Like
Mm-hmm.
Windows was coming up, and there were
Right.
programs which were installed on the machine. But the
Mm-hmm.
problem was that when you install a program, they can be uninstalled because of a virus, because of any computer configuration, and there were a lot
Mm-hmm.
of many problems. So
Mm-hmm.
when we passed out, we thought since we are going to serve the computer industry, so four friends together actually formed a small company called Dream Team, and,
Wow.
and then actually we ventured into the web space, and we were giving web-based solutions to different handicraft exporters and schools in Jodhpur and across India and across the globe. So that's how it started, from a typical software move to a web-based environment. And that point of time, I
Right.
believe Netscape Navigator was there. Chrome did not exist. Google did not exist. And
Right.
it was like I4 or I3, I think, at that point of time. So
Right.
we started working on those spaces. We started learning the PHP part. It was just coming out. It was PHP 2.0 or 3.4 was there. So into that base, we developed some solutions there, and then we started the journey in Jodhpur from a small cyber cafe. So probably it was
Wow.
it was the first cafe in Jodhpur, and the speed of internet was around like 32 kbps. We are running on gbps right now, so it's like that. So it was great fun there. So we never thought that we will be running a cafe across the entire journey, but we thought that we will be giving some solutions to Jodhpur because it was an export hub. So probably we launched a small solution called eNarad. It was a communication stuff because the exporters wanted to contact the buyers, and the
Right.
buyers were not there and they were not in touch. They had to wait for the buyer to come to their facility and then do some buying. So this
Right.
small initiative of having a small eNarad kind of concept where we were giving emails and leads to respective houses by going there physically. The first
Right.
initiative, but again, that was a great learning for us because that let us know that okay, communication is very important, and this is how we can communicate. A buyer can communicate to exporter. That was the starting point. Then probably we got to know that okay, they need a website and probably a e-commerce website. So we started building a small website for them. Initially, a static site where we were putting the
Right.
products there, but later on we added a shopping cart and all those stuff, which is very common these days. Like Amazon and Flipkart are having it. But at that point of time, it was like a nightmare to get those things
I'm
up and
sure. I'm
running.
sure.
So that actually helped us get in touch with the exporters and understand their needs. So since we're doing it, and the schools are also coming up, so we also went to schools and we say, hey, can we make your brochure online? So they say, okay, why not? Just we have a catalog physical, you make it
Mhm.
online. So the idea was having a physical catalog. But later on, what happened when we were talking to schools, they told, why not build some interactivity? Why not have something more? So we added a very interactive feature called having articles and having news and announcements on the site. So it was
Wow.
like a collaboration or interactivity building up. So as we moved on, then probably the schools told that, okay, hey, because we're doing this thing, can we have something more? So we said, why not? So we added a feature of collaboration where we built up logins for parents, for students, for teachers, and they were able to log in and see what's happening online. So that's
Wow.
where we added the collaboration part into the system. And later on, when this actually went well, the school said, okay, why not add the fees? I want to announce my results. So we added those models also. That's the
Wow.
building part where we added small things and it
Small
became a
thing.
big solution. So,
Wow.
so, so that's where from 1995 when I was in class 11 and to 2007 when I was in Dream Team. So it's a 10 year or 12-year journey. A small
Wow.
snippet to start
That's
with, yeah.
absolutely, sir. It's so fascinating, Mr. Bhatnagar. You know, those times I remember we used to like write programs in Linux when I was in school, and it was so difficult. And at that point, you took that initiative. You and your friends, you thought about it. So it's really fascinating, and it really shows that how those early experiences really set the stage for your impress journey.
Very
So
true.
that's kudos to you, and thank you for sharing that with us. It's so interesting. So, Mr. Bhatnagar, you've had such a remarkable journey, and one of the most interesting thing is that you co-founded an EdTech startup way back in 1999, before the whole startup culture we know today really took off. And it's amazing to think about the kind of vision and risk that took, especially at the time when internet and tech in education weren't as mainstream as they are now. So we did talk about it a little, but what was it that sparked the decision for you to dive into the startup world so early?
Well, the basic mantra we followed was suppose we are ready with something. So we deploy that thing very quickly in the relevant place, then learn quickly, and then unlearn
Right.
quickly also because what is not required has to be taken away. So
Oh,
mostly what happens, people leave the unlearning part. So we focus
right,
on the unlearning part is very important. And if we unlearn quickly, then probably we understand, okay, this needs to be changed. And then we deploy the changes and then deploy it again. So that's a typical agile cycle as we know today. So they follow the same pattern, but we did it at that point of time also. We deployed the system in schools and they said, hey, this is not required. We took it away. And maybe we repeated that feature for that specific school and then probably
hmm,
made it available for different school. They said, this is not required. This is how it should be happening. So we made the changes and then deployed again and then test it again and say, is it okay? Then when it says it is okay, then that system becomes a part of the standard solution.
right.
So that's how we built a small you can say interactive website or an online system to a complete full-fledged ERP. Because when I'm talking about the ERP, then probably it's having 65 good modules in a typical school or a edtech solution, which was having of like online academics, online result announcement system,
Wow.
articles, news, and maybe I should say the postal management part on the ERP side of it, the finance part, the financial accounting part, the payroll, purchase management, and everything. So it's like a
Wow.
64 module system which was deployed in schools. Typically for boarding schools because they in those places the parents were living at a different place, so they
Right.
wanted to understand how the student is doing in the school. So from the
Right.
login, they could log in and see, hey, my child is reading these kind of books. So those
Hmm.
kind of insight from the school can help the parent to decide, okay, my child is going in the right direction or in the wrong direction.
Right.
And
Right.
then they can talk to school authorities or the principal that please keep a watch on the child because he's reading these kind of books. So
Right.
that was the core insight there. But no, what happened that when we went, because way back in 2001 and 2, the net was not so fast. And
Right.
we were deploying a solution in a place called Balachadi, which is in Jamnagar in Gujarat. So what
Okay.
happened, there were huge rainfalls there and the net was not working. And so we
Hmm.
got into big problem. So what we
Wow.
did that we deployed the entire system offline in the school premise and we made a dual
Okay.
level sync system. So that actually helped us synchronize the data from offline to online in the real time. So we don't need
Wow.
to be online always. Do everything offline, click on a button, and it goes online. So that's
Online.
the solution. The problem was there, so we got
Wow.
into a solution and we were able to break through those barriers. So those things came into a way, and actually it helped the system grow. And when we moved to different schools in India also in
Hmm.
2005 and 6, and when I was in Brunei for a MOE project, there also the net was not so good because the rainfalls were very high. It's typical equator climate there, so
Climate.
it helped there also. So
Wow.
it again was a great learning experience for me also and for the product. So it developed and it developed very nicely.
Wow, wow. So that's really wonderful, and I can only imagine how daunting it must have been to start something like that way back then. And it really shows the level of foresight and grit you had. And also when you said, it's really important to learn and unlearn. And a lot of people listening can take a lot of learning from your, the challenges that you faced and how you overcame that. So that's really wonderful.
Yeah, I would like to add one more thing because no,
Yes,
at
please.
that point of time, ERPs were like not very well understood, and the schools were big in name. So they said, okay, just use my name, and I don't want to pay the hefty costs. So
Right.
people, what happens? They say, okay, I want to have this cost, and I will not deploy it. So we took a
Mm-hmm.
different approach. We say, hey, we need a basic cost because we have to run the
Of
business there,
course.
and we
Right.
learn from you, and we give all the functionality to you free of cost. So that actually
Right.
helped the system grow and the acceptance was very high.
Right.
And then probably the system grew and we thought that, okay, when the system will grow in big in nature, we'll earn from somewhere else. But these schools are actually helping us grow. So it's free for them. We just take the base and that actually helped the acceptance level to be very high in the schools. And the system grew to a very great level. And when I say 65 models, it's not a small thing. I think even
Absolutely.
today, many ERP systems don't have that kind of
Right.
richness in features there. So that was one more issue which came and we solved in this way.
Wow, that's so wonderful, taking those decisions. It must require a lot of lot of thought behind it. So that's really great.
Thank you so much.
So, Mr. Bhatnagar, you've had such an impressive track record for bringing products to life from your early days of EdTech ventures to your recent work in e-commerce. What's the process like for you when you're launching something new, whether it's a feature or an entire product? And how do you keep that balance between excitement of the idea and the reality of ensuring everything stays on track? With so many moving pieces, how do you ensure everything runs smoothly from ideation to execution?
Okay, that's actually a wonderful question because no, this is a typical place where PMs get fixed up. So the
Right.
typical way I handle this thing is basically creating some kind of process maps. So
Mm-hmm.
I have in my first in the list is basically an ideation map. So because ideas are welcome from anyone and everyone.
Right.
So if
Right.
suppose I'm launching a news adding feature, it's a very simple example. So I put up an idea map and probably ask ideas, hey, how we can do this, how good it
Right.
would look like, because just by posting a feature is not important, it has to be used also, right?
Right.
So
Right.
the stakeholders from customer experience, from UI UX team, from the product team, from the strategy team, and from the marketing team, all are important. So this
Mm-hmm.
ideation map actually helps us getting all the ideas on the same map for a specific feature,
Right.
right?
Right.
So when say 10 people have given the idea, I want this kind of user experience. I want this kind of UI to be there on the feature, and I would like to market in this specific way. This is a sort of a SEO going to happen. So all
Mm-hmm.
those ideas are put it into a ideation map, right?
Right.
Now, when we have those set of ideas, we prioritize those ideas by the help of some technique which are very popular. One I use most is RICE, RICE, or ICE or Moscow. So
Okay.
probably this is a typical formula. RICE stands for reach. Uh, is the impact. What kind of impact is going to happen? C is
Right.
basically the kind of confidence you have, and E is basically the effort required, right?
Okay.
So R into I into C upon effort. So that's a typical formula. So if suppose
Okay.
I launch this feature, and this feature is going to benefit 4,000 users. That's the reach,
Right.
right?
Right.
And probably if I talk about the confidence, say I
Impact.
will be able to make this in 70%. So that's the confidence.
Right.
And this feature will have a X dollar revenue impact. So that's the I
Agree.
part. And it will
Right.
take 10 days to make that feature. So once we
Right.
have that, we have the score coming on every task. And based on the highest score, we pick up that specific task.
That idea. Okay.
So that's the way I prioritize things, and it's a typical formula-based thing. People who love data, and people who say, okay, I know I'm a very oldie in this area, so we go for a Moscow technique. You let me know what is must have, what is could have, and what is should have, and what we won't have, right? So basis that we can prioritize. Okay, this is what we want, and we have a map on the roadmap. We have these things put up, and say this is the entire way we need to prioritize. This is the first thing we need to pick, and this is the whole
Right.
idea. Because people have given their idea, they have given all the thoughts. So we have their
Right.
input, we have the scoring, we have the entire thing put it up, and then we say we start up with this kind of effort. And all these small tasks are put into a agile sprint, and we
Mm-hmm.
execute that accordingly. So it
Wow.
actually helps us get the best idea, get the best prioritization, get into a process-driven thing, and have the effort put up to get it delivered in the specified amount of time. So that's a typical approach I have been taking all these years to get any kind of functionality, because features look big, but when we break them into tasks, it is very methodological and very
Right.
clear. Hey, I will be
Right.
able to deliver in this 10 days, because the CEOs on top, they would like to have a date. They will not ask what you want to do. I
How
don't
you're
know.
doing it, what you're
They
doing.
want give
Yes,
me a date,
absolutely.
and that's what
Right.
is very important.
Right.
So giving any date is actually not right. So taking
Absolutely.
this approach actually helps the entire process, and gives a very accurate date, because I can say this is a 80 or 90% accuracy, but 10%
Mm-hmm.
margin is still there because something important might come.
Absolutely. Right. Right.
90% is accurate, 10% is open. So that's a
Right.
typical way I've been following all these years, and I believe people should follow that, because means rice and Moscow are the most commonly used
Use.
terminologies. We should use that for prioritizing things.
Right. And it's so interesting, the way you use these technologies and the way you navigate those challenges. It really teaches us how to balance innovation and practical execution. And as you said, the technologies that you said, when used, will give us up to at least 90% success rate. And it's a great, success rate when you think about it, because uh, these are such practical solutions and so easy to follow, and it ensures that the the project that is going on happens on time, and everything is as much as possible happens correctly,
Very
right?
true, very true.
Yeah, absolutely. That's really, this is the first time I've heard something about these technologies, because obviously I'm not from that background. And, these things you can use in your daily life as well.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
probably
taking
I also
decisions in
use
your daily
something called a Raki metrics,
life.
RACI.
Okay.
So
Okay.
basically, if suppose I need to pick up the most important thing right now, so I say all I when I'm picking up, who is responsible for that specific task. So
Right.
that comes into responsible or R. Who is accountable is like A,
Accountable.
and who should
Right.
be consulted for getting this task achieved is C, and who should be
Right.
informed. So this is a Raki matrix for each task, and
Yes.
we put a status, you put a date, and then you are able to manage those things very smartly.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Thank you for sharing that with us. So, Mr. Bhatnagar, in this fast-paced world of tech, staying ahead of trends is critical. And as someone who's navigated the ever-changing landscape of product development for so many years, I'm curious, how do you keep your finger on the pulse of emerging technologies? And when it comes to implementing these innovations, what's your approach for evaluating them and making sure they fit seamlessly into the products that you're building?
Okay. Wow, that's a wonderful question. So probably a couple of things I do. So first of all, this is the age of AI. So that's the most
Right.
important thing, and people should not forget what has been done in the past will not be relevant right now because
Agreed.
AI has come into picture. So I keep myself subscribed to some AI forums and some AI
Hmm.
newsletter, and there's some magazines like TechCrunch. So those actually help us understand what is the latest happening in the world. Maybe in the e-commerce space, like if you talk about Amazon, we talk about recommendations there, right? But Amazon has gone to a level where they say we are prescribing you what you want. That basically called prescriptive intelligence. So
Okay.
they understand your purchasing behavior and they say, hey
Hmm.
Vishal, I know you want this thing, so go ahead and buy this thing. And
Right.
in US, probably they have gone to a level where they will send it to your house without even you ordering because they know that you are
Oh,
ordering this thing on a regular recurring basis. So this is
right.
called
Right.
prescriptive intelligence. So this is
Hmm.
where people have gone. But India is a bit lacking behind. So probably to keep and reach there, this is a very good way to keep yourself updated. So AI
Right.
forums are
Right.
there, TechCrunch is there. So we need to subscribe and read those things maybe once in a week. That's the very typical thing. And
Right.
to keep myself in tune, I use Google Keep. It's a very good
Hmm.
tool. It's free of cost
Okay.
available. It's a sort of a to-do list, and it also sends reminders to you.
Oh,
So,
great.
so yeah, you can have a Google Task created, or you can have a Google Keep, and you can set up on your phone and say, I want A, B, C, D things. Just click on that, and it goes away. But if you keep
Wow.
on adding it, and probably it's a list of things you need to do, and you can specify a time, and then probably it will remind you, hey, Vishal, you missed reading this thing. So those tools are very important, and probably
Wow.
it helps you keep aligned with what's happening. And you might miss that, but again, this will help you reach to that specific level. So that's the answer to your first question. The second part was how what is the approach basically.
Approach.
So
Right.
probably what we do, the first thing again goes back to my favorite ideation and roadmap thing. So on the entire need, what the business requires. Suppose I want to implement a upselling feature on my e-commerce website. So
Right.
that is the need. But again, what you need from that upselling feature, you want to have more data from captured on the thank you page or on the checkout page or on the product
Hmm.
page, where. So
Hmm.
that is the need
Right.
which is important. Then basis
Right.
that need, we look for some apps or some kind of system which is already available in the market. So because people who are into this business are doing it the best. If we start it
Right.
from scratch, then probably it will take years of time to make it. And then by the time we are there, it will not be relevant. So,
Right.
so we just use and see, look for those kind of apps in the market, deploy it on the platform, and then probably because
Hmm.
these apps come with some trial period of 14 days or 30 days as a part of their
Right.
marketing strategy. So we
Hmm.
deploy it full throttle, and we see what is the impact. If suppose they're really useful, then probably we
Right.
could say, hey, we talk to CEO and say this is important, useful. This is the kind of budget we are going to spend, and this is a possible ROI we are going to get. So basis that
Right.
ROI versus spend, we're able to finalize the relevant app and we move ahead.
Ab-
Because in today's world, just in time is very important. If you're not there right
Absolutely.
now, you're gone.
You're gone. Right.
So these things actually help us keep updated and probably align with what the business wants. And the
Wow.
third most important thing is to focus on automation because there's certain things like I say I'm heading a team of 7 product managers and looking for a typical report from them. So making a report is actually good for them to understand the back end. But again, it's
Right.
spending 1 hour or 2 hours in the same process again and again every week, right?
Right.
It's a weekly reporting mode I am
Right.
talking about.
Right.
So we can automate those things and then probably save time. We can ask
Right.
you do the analysis. It is important for you because you have to grow the product. But the
Hmm.
report can be automated and you can write insights on that report because that is
Agree.
where your knowledge is important. That is
Yes.
where your brain is
Right.
required because
Right.
data is
And
of
that
no
human
use.
element would
Yeah,
come there.
yeah. Data is of no use, but insight is what is important. What
Exactly.
is the
Right.
next best thing we should be doing on the platform
Right.
is most important, and that is where the PMs come into picture. So we work towards automation and automating those small tasks so that we can save 3 to 4 hours every week
Every
for a
week.
specific
Right.
individual. So that gives us better productivity of that user, and he's also like not bored away. Hey, I'm just making reports. So
Same, doing same thing every week. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. So those things I do personally. And as a culture, we have also adopted. I spoke to my CEO also, and it was great. And he was obviously ready, and he was ready even ahead of me. Also, he said, "Vishal, why are you even asking? Just go and do it."
Right.
So that's where, and that's the mindset I'm coming from.
Wow, wow, that's so fascinating, Mr. Bhatnagar. And it really, shows how deeply you think about integrating technology with practical business solutions. So that's really wonderful. So, Mr. Bhatnagar, as you look ahead, what are some of your key aspirations for the future, both in terms of the companies you're involved with and your personal growth as a leader? Additionally, I'd love to hear about your thoughts on boardroom dynamics.
Okay. So, as I mentioned in my last answer, human touch with AI is what I focus upon because AI is actually database
Right,
intelligence, and human is the touch where we need to have collaborate and connection because they are people who are implementing whatever processes, whatever things we do. So,
right.
human touch with AI is my core mantra when I talk in any kind of boardroom because
Mm-hmm.
AI will give us the edge. AI will give us the profitability. AI will give us the conversion part because we don't
Right.
know that if suppose I am buying ABC product, what next I should be buying is what
Mm-hmm.
AI can tell us very smartly because they analyze my
Right.
buying pattern, they analyze my you can say there's something called RFM, recency, frequency, and monetary value. So
Okay.
how frequently I buy, what value of things I buy, so that is what the AI can capture very smartly.
Mm-hmm.
And then probably based on that, they can say, hey Vishal, go ahead and buy these things. So we can use this kind of tools or this technology
Right.
and then
Right.
recommend customers in a personalized way. So you, Charu, if you're buying ABC, I buying XYZ, it will recommend something different for you and something different for me
You.
when I'm in a logged in mode. And it happens on
Right.
Amazon also. If you have a look at Amazon, then probably if you're in a logged in mode, then probably if you can say left a specific item in the cart or you browse something, when you log in again on the homepage, it says start from the place where you
From.
left.
Yeah.
So it's different for you and different for me. So they are
Right.
working on the AI in the back end and it is recommending you things. So that will help us increase the conversion of specific websites.
Right.
Right. So
Right.
that's the AI touch. But again, how it will look like, and then probably what should be there, what content should be there. Now these days, the AI is also recommending the content, but that human
Mm-hmm.
touch will always be there because it helps us collaborate
Absolutely.
and connect, and then probably, if required, speak to the relevant customer. So human
Right.
touch with AI is my mantra when I go to any talk and discuss things, and that is my approach to solving problems.
Wow. And do you see yourself moving on to taking on boardroom roles?
Well, I'm still learning. That's what I will say. So AI is very new to me also. But again, just being into this state for a long time, the business is like the back of my head. So keeping that in mind, what is required, I look for relevant things and try to help business grow. So
Wow. That's really wonderful, Mr. Bhatnagar. I love how you're not just focusing on the end result, but also on the journey and the values that will guide you moving forward. So, usually when we talk to people, their aim is to, reach at a certain position, but they rarely talk about how and what will guide them, what values they want to take along. So that's really wonderful talking to you about
but
it.
that's very important because no, what we I've seen personally that when anybody is deploying a specific product, they say, I want to make a website, but it's not a website, it's a complete ecosystem.
Ecosystem.
Right? Suppose if we talk about the EdTech, then probably that EdTech is a system. It has to
Right,
students, teachers, parents, management as stakeholders. We have a CRM as an important stakeholder. We have a communication platform like Zoom as a different stakeholder because
right.
we want to communicate to relevant stakeholders. We have
Hmm.
email as a different tool. So all this is a complete ecosystem. So
Right.
what people should be doing that we should be making a mind map out of it
Hmm.
as small leaves and then further breaking into sub leaves. So that will help us
Right,
give a bigger picture of the entire ecosystem and then actually start working only after that. If we start
right.
working from day one, we will end up doing nothing or we will go in a
Nothing.
different direction. But the mind map and the
Agree.
roadmap actually helps us be aligned and focused to what is the vision of the business and what and where are we going with the product. So
Right, right. Wow, that's really thought-provoking.
yeah, very true, very true. Means, people actually like this thing because what happens that this is generally missed. They make a process map, they make agile, but probably the roadmap, the mind maps, and the process maps are generally missed because
Missing.
so this is very important, and probably in one of my few posts on LinkedIn also, I have done that. And this is the most important thing you should be moving ahead to start building a product or start managing a
Right,
product.
right. Wow. Thank you so much for sharing that with us. So, Mr. Bhatnagar, as a seasoned leader with wealth of experience, I'm sure you've clearly navigated many facets of leadership. And when it comes to corporate governance, it's such a crucial element in shaping not only a company's strategy, but also culture and ethical foundation. How do you view the role of corporate governance in today's fast evolving business landscape?
Hmm. I would say it is process management. That's the most important thing because we spoke about product, we spoke about multiple things, but processes bring transparency,
Right.
right? So as a typical saying in Hindi, कि बेटा झूठ बोल सकता है, डेटा झूठ नहीं बोलता है. So basically process, when we talk about processes, then we say A, B, C, D, and E. So it's a typical step-by-step process or the
Right.
way it is defined. So if we have those processes in place in any company, it builds transparency, it builds trust, and it is actually
Mhm.
builds responsibility also.
Right.
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 So I just spoke about a Raki matrix example
Mhm.
in my last question. So when I say I'm picking up a business or I'm acquiring a business, I know I need to do 25 different things, right?
Right.
But different stakeholders are involved in getting that business on board, right? Somebody from finance, somebody from operations, somebody from product, some from tech, and some from marketing. So if we have those tasks defined, we define who is the owner, who is responsible, and should be informed and consulted. Then we are
Right.
building clear charter, a clear process on how we are planning to move transition that business from A to our own kitty. So that is
Right.
transparency, that is responsibility. Now,
Right.
if we add a column of date to that, it gives a goal post, right?
Mhm.
And probably that is where governance and corporate governance come into picture because they talk about numbers, they talk about dates, they talk about delivery, right?
Right.
So
Right.
having this is a typical matters which can be followed, and
Mhm.
the transparency, trust, and ownership can be built in. That's a typical good way to govern things. Apart from
Right.
that, if I talk about HR, we should be having some HR softwares where we have some
Right.
processes. Like from the
Agreed.
time we are interviewing an individual to the time he is moving out of the company,
Moving on.
it's a
Mhm.
complete process where we know that this is what kind of skill set, this is what we agreed, sort of
Right.
letters which we given to him, sort of documents he shared with us or she shared with us. So all those things should be into the HR module, and same with
Agreed.
CRM, same with Salesforce, same with other tools. So all processes actually help us build transparency, and that is actually governance, because there's a process of compliance also. Means
Absolutely.
the legal part and the certification part. So again, that should be a process-driven thing, and that's why we have ISO and those certificates because they are process-driven
Certification.
things, right?
Right. Right.
And
Right.
building compliances, building trust is actually corporate governance, in my view. So I recommend and I try to follow these things in my company, and would say everybody else should also follow that.
Agreed, agreed. And that's really insightful, Mr. Bhatnagar. Corporate governance is often seen as a necessary framework, but as you clearly mentioned, it's about creating a culture of trust and accountability that ensures the company thrives long term. And from my past experience in the corporate world, I have seen people finding it as an obstacle, but it actually is a enabler rather than an obstacle. So that's really important.
Very, very important because from a business perspective, they need deliveries, and deliveries will have always those hard swords on top of everybody's head.
Right,
But these
right.
processes actually streamline multiple things. We
Agreed.
actually can learn this from a typical automobile industry also because they say
Hmm.
that on the assembly line A, B, C will
A,
happen.
B, C, D.
Otherwise,
Right,
the car will
right.
never be deployed. So that is a
Agreed.
typical governance they follow. And in the tech world, this is the typical way which we can follow and get those things achieved.
Right, right. So, Mr. Bhatnagar, you've recently joined Directors Institute, a platform that brings together some of the most visionary minds in leadership. I'm curious, what has been your experience like so far joining this organization, and how has it impacted your perspective on corporate governance, leadership, and even your personal approach to decision making?
Well, it's I would say it's Eureka. because I never knew the concepts which are being taught. So means I have been into tech for a long time, but
Right.
this domain where I joined is actually totally new for me because the
Mm-hmm.
kind of terms which are used, the kind of company law, the kind of sections which are there. So I have never read it, to be very frank,
Wow. Right.
because I can talk about technology, product, everything, but again in this space
Right.
I'm a big zero there. So a very good learning for me, and the way Mr. Jayamurthy is talking and teaching things to us is actually amazing. Means he makes
Wow.
the things so simple, and he puts a lot of fun into it. But again, the learning element is very, very strong. And he has plenty of experience in this space for a long time. Amazing learning and amazing experience for learning from him. So I would say just wow. And I am lusting to class KG when I'm talking into this domain. So that's what I can say. Learning a lot, and it's a great learning and great learning experience.
Wow, thank you for such a wonderful feedback, Mr. Bhatnagar. And it's really inspiring that leaders like yourself who already have such great experience, such an extensive career, are still looking to enhance their skills and learn new things. So that's really, really inspiring. And I hope that, whatever you are aiming to achieve for yourself, this curriculum definitely adds on to it and helps you achieve those goals for yourself.
I am very sure because it will teach me things nationally and internationally also, because
Right,
there are certain rules which are to be followed internationally also. So
right.
we might be aware of national, but international, no.
I'm
So
sure. I'm
probably I am very hopeful and super excited to share my learning when it's complete. So very
Wow.
thanks to the that institute for that.
Wow, thank you so much for that feedback, and I wish you all the best for this journey.
Sure, sure. Thank you. Looking ahead.
So, well, that brings us to the end of today's conversation. A big thank you to Mr. Bhatnagar for sharing his invaluable insights and experiences with us today. From his incredible journey in the world of EdTech to his perspective on leadership, corporate governance, and the impact of his role at Directors Institute, it's clear that he's a true visionary in his field. For all our audience, we hope today's episode gave you some new ideas, strategies, and inspiration for your own professional journey. If you enjoyed this episode, don't forget to subscribe, share, and leave us a review. We'd love to hear your thoughts. Thank you again for tuning in to FaceTime with Leaders, presented by Directors Institute. Until next time, keep leading with purpose and passion. Thank you.